the distinguished scientists, and my beloved participants. We have been hearing how we can integrate science with the spirituality. And the hot topic today, that how we can go from God particle to God of science, the consciousness. This announcement on 4th of July that we have observed a new boson with a mass so and so, and we are certain with 4.9 sigma certainty. This is, they are thinking of, it is a near discovery of Higgs boson. It offers us the origin of mass, as Professor Srikantan told yesterday. Without it, the standard model of physics is incomplete, and knowing it, we can do the combination of the four forces of nature. Later men coined this term God particle, and it drew attention and enthusiasm of the whole general public to a very difficult subject, particle physics. It is revealing something intangible becoming tangible. It is disturbing yet liberating. And itself is a technological marvel, as Weinberg put it, that it is a real-time computation of an enormous magnitude. It is a giant superconducting system along 27-kilometer underground circular tract, and it has given rise to a technology which we call World Wide Web. It came from CERN laboratory. Now, what is left to be known after this Higgs boson? How Higgs boson is connected with dark matter and dark energy. The God particle, if the universe is the answer, what is the question? This is the title of the Letterman's book. The questions we are raising and addressing in this presentation, how far consciousness, the God of science, is away from God particle. Now, God particle is just a mass, origin of mass. Anything which comes in contact with it acquires mass. But subtler than mass is information, subtler than information is mind, subtler than mind is life, principle, prana, self, and most subtle is the consciousness. So we have a long way to go. We'll attempt to draw a big picture where Higgs boson, dark matter, dark energy, information, life, and visible matter and visible energy find their respectable place. My methodology is based on intuition, speculation, and constructive logic. Please forgive me, I don't have any evidence, the idea I am presenting. We have to change one assumption to do this. The universe is not created from any matter or energy. Universe is created out of an information signaled from the essence of the multiversity. What is that? In our spiritual scripture, that universe is not one. Plural of universe is not universes. Plural of universe, the word universe will be multiverse. And the system of multiverse forms a system that is called multiversity. And from where all these universes are born, we have to give a name, and just like primordial soup or whatever has been told earlier, we may call it the essence of the multiversity. And just my previous slide passed away, this essence of multiversity is information, sending an information signal from this essence of the multiversity. With your religious bent, you can give the way you like. And here again, we are not considering the infinity, because both our beginning and end remain the essence of the multiversity, and the essence of the multiversity is within finite realm. Infinity is difficult to handle with intellect. You see, the smallest subatomic particle and the largest intellectually comprehensible size is the universe, and there it is only 10 to the power 100 order. So both 10 and 100 are finite numbers, and essence of the multiverse, it is just maybe an outlier to the statistics. So we are not dealing with the infinity here. We are making science, trying to do science within the finite realm. Now the composition of the universe, if you look at, the maximum is the dark energy. 70% of the universe is the dark energy, and 25% is the dark matter. This is the enigma of the scientist. What is the source of this dark matter and this dark energy, and how is it related to Higgs boson? This is another way of putting it. Only the terminal tip constitute about 1% of the universe, which is the visible matter. In 2008, I published a paper in Frontiers Perspective Journal from USA, where it is a 10-page big article available in my website. I am not going into that, but this is a radical view of information on its nature and science, where I say about the information split phenomenon. Now, if you look at the word information, it has a Latin origin, which is a noun, and a Greek origin, which is verb. Now, information has a form inside, that white color I am showing. And you see the prefix is the in, then form, the root, and the ation is the process. So it is a noun as well as a verb. And this information, the form within information comes out as form. Form means space and time, by an inside-out phenomena, by a structure called mind. In nature, it may be mind-like structure and process. In human context, it is mind. Now, this makes the form and the energy, the space, time, and this energy goes to neuron, and this may be a way of psychosomatic connection. Now, here I am making a very grand statement without any evidence that information is the source of both time, space, and energy. But this is happening in nature beyond the Planck scale. That's why it is intangible, not measurable, not immediately observable, but its effects are seen within the Planck scale, where we are getting matter-based energy, atomic matter, like that. But there are two big question marks. How this non-atomic matter is converted into atomic matter, and how dark energy is converted into white energy. What is the missing link? What stands in between the nature outside Planck scale and the nature within Planck scale? Now, if we look at the property of the dark matter and dark energy, dark matter attracts the component of the universe, dark energy propels the component of the universe. So, one is responsible for contraction, another is for expansion of the universe. So, a balanced proportion of the dark energy and dark matter maintains the dynamically changing size of the universe. But this is an extremely strenuous task. This is an extremely strenuous task, and nature is visibly almost harassed to maintain even the status quo. Just by the balance of the dark matter and the dark energy, if nature has to maintain the size of the universe, it was extremely strenuous task. It's a cosmic tug of war. Nature is visibly under strain because there is random split of information. Information is bombarding on the quantum fields, and it is getting split and producing dark matter and dark energy. And how to make sense out of it? Universe is expanding. When nature was in such a disturbed condition, I propose that at that time, how to ease out this relentless tiring exercise when the amino acids or protein molecules have already been formed but did not offer any relief. Naked RNAs could not do this. Naked DNAs are found to be of no value either. Virus to fail to rise to the occasion. And here comes the decision for an enclosure. Enclose the DNA within a membrane. Enclose the DNA within a membrane. So what will happen? This is not an easy job either. Where from this lipid and protein molecules Dr. Hegde shows, where from it will come? Whether it will be taken from the environment or the virus will produce it. Virus can produce it only when it is inside a life form, but life form has not yet formed at that time. So, and again, once it is formed, how this complex molecular partition will be a complex membrane? All these questions nature has to answer. So I think the astrophysicists, cosmobiologists, and the life scientists sit together and to work on this. This momentous phenomenon of enclosure of DNA as a life form, however, did two things. It did reverse the flow of information within it and made the information accessible. How? Before the enclosure, the information flow was like this. From the molecular world, protein world, RNA world, DNA world. After the enclosure, the information started flowing from DNA to RNA to protein. Second, so keyword is the inversion of axis when outside becoming in. And the information which was location non-addressable, content non-addressable, context non-addressable, after this transition, now you can locate the information that within the cell. It is now has become location addressable, content addressable, and context addressable information. Now, in this figure, I try to put all these things. Now, you can look information-based energy and the dark matter. This is reversible. Random interconversion in the nature beyond this Planck scale. On the other hand, within the Planck scale, E equal to mc square, matter is converting into energy, but we do not have yet evidence that energy is converted into matter. Now, that is possible by Higgs boson. When it is coming in contact with the Higgs boson, that energy mass is getting mass. That energy is getting mass. Now, Higgs boson is elusive but alluring to the materialist. Same way, the life principle is elusive and alluring to the spiritualist. Now, the life principle and Higgs boson has to do something to make this life form. The result is that what Lederman stresses as intangible becoming tangible. Here is the quote of Louis Pasteur in 1857. Let me read it. I have been looking for spontaneous generation for 20 years without discovering it. No, I do not judge it impossible, but what allows you to make it the origin of life? You place matter before life and you decide that matter has existed for all eternity. How do you know that the incessant progress of science will not compel scientists to consider that life has existed during eternity and not matter? You pass from matter to life because your intelligence of today cannot conceive things otherwise. How do you know that in 10,000 years one will not consider it more likely that matter has emerged from life? So this life form, even these two great souls on the dais, we are seeing the picture, they also told the life comes from life. Prabhupada and Professor T.J. Singh ji, both of them said life comes from life. Here the life means life form, first life, and comes from life means probably life principle they mean. You see, the life form stands between the nature, in the boundary of the nature beyond Planck scale and the nature within Planck scale. And we, the human being, the highest form of life form, stands in the same platform at the boundary of the nature beyond Planck scale and the nature within Planck scale. We do science within Planck scale, and we do philosophy, spiritualism, mysticism, which is outside Planck scale. So, by this scheme, we get the purpose of designing the life form. What are the purposes? Information management. The information which was bombarding randomly on the quantum fields now get a respectable place to bombard on, that is the cell membrane. That is the cell membrane which Dr. Hegde was emphasizing, that it is now started bombarding on the cell membrane. So we get the information management. In the process, we get an economy of the dark matter and the dark energy, and we'll see that probably the life form converts this dark energy into white energy, and the life form manifests the nature beyond Planck scale to nature which is within Planck scale, which is observable, measurable. And in this process, the resolution of the conflict of the two sides of the nature are being made. But what does dark matter and dark energy do inside a cell? You know, the dark matter contracts, attracts. So probably the dark matter may be responsible for the conformity of the DNA and maintaining the conformity of the folded protein enzymes. On the other hand, the dark energy may be generated within the cell, may exploit the property of fluidity of genes, may explain why the genes jump and thus change the grammar of the language of the gene. Gene jumping theory could be explained by this sort of energy. Now, what is the relevance in neuroscience? The brain is a miniature universe. 10 to the power 11 stars makes a galaxy, and 10 to the power 11 galaxies make the universe. In the human brain, there are 10 to the power 11 neurons, and 10 times of it are glial cells. More than 90% of the brain function are as obscure as the universe, maybe dark matter, dark energy. Now, to me, brain is informationally open, not through sensory, not only through sensory, but also through extrasensory or non-sensory domain. There is information bombardment on the cerebral cortex from outside, from above. When the self becomes aware of this supracortico-cortical interaction, it is pronounced as supracortical consciousness. P.D. Maglione said that the brain, human brain, is a composite of the reptilian brain, mammalian brain, and the human brain. It is called triune brain. We get brainstem being, limbic being, and the cortical being. In 1985, I suggested that brain is now evolving towards a supracortical direction. And you see, it is in our culture. We shave our head, and on Sadhu is writing Om on the head. Amritananda Ma is blessing and kissing the head of Sri L.K. Advani when he was Deputy Prime Minister. And not only in Hindu ritual, but also in Christian ritual, when faith meets science. Pope Benedict has been blessing the Stephen Hawking.
Sir, you may have to conclude.
Yes, I have presented only 20 minutes, I will take 5 minutes more. Now, Penfield, the Canadian neurosurgeon, he never said that consciousness is not found inside the brain. Eccles also wrote a book, The Self and Its Brain. And in our Upanishad and in Bhagavad Gita, we have an inverted neuroaxis, the Urdhva Moolam Adha Shakham. Now, this is the cerebral cortex, 3 to 4 millimeter thick, and you see the histoarchitecture. I want to draw your attention, the dendrites which are supposed to bring information on the to the neuronal body, why they are going up, why the neurons are going, the dendrites are going up, and that means are they bringing information from above, from outside the cortex? And if you look at the first layer of the cerebral cortex, these dendrites are forming a dendritic mat, and just like which acts like antennae to receive the information from above. Lot of physics, I invite all IITians to work on that, how we can do it. And if anybody does it, he will get Nobel Prize on this. So how this interaction can be materialized in science. Epilepsy, hysteria, permanent loss of information cannot be explained without this phenomenon. Similarly, non-sensory perception, intuition, revelation also cannot be explained without this supracortico-cortical interaction. Mary Zibu from Japan has written a book, Quantum Brain Dynamics and Consciousness, where they also bring similar type of notion in their book. But I think that they have three differences with me. They consider water dipole rather than dipoles in the dendrites. That has to be looked into. They seek explanation of every phenomenon within Planck's scale of nature, and they have not accepted anything like me as supracortical, because they are doing science. I am doing both science and philosophy, science and spiritualism. Now, what all do you need, therefore, in the tangible domain to make supracortical consciousness? These have to be looked into. Now, this dark energy in neuroscience. Now, if this energy goes to neurons, this is dark energy, there is always a glial filter, that the neurons are not being damaged. You see, if this information split and this dark energy is produced and it directly goes to neuron, the neuron will be damaged. So there are glial filters. Here I bring a distinction between information and signal for all IITians. You see, where there is signal transmission, not information transmission between the neurons, there is no glia, there is no astrocyte. In ganglion, the collection of nerve cells outside the nervous system, there is no astrocyte, there is no glia. Even in the retina which transmits only signal, photonic signal, there is no information, there is no glia. So here it comes, the dark energy comes in relevance to neuroscience. Following this conversion of this dark energy into white energy, you can see this play, that if this dark energy remains, you can see the fight. So we have talked about the local science, energy, matter, time, space, but still we have non-local science of consciousness, mind, self, life principle, and which is connecting is the information. Information is the bridge between the local science and the non-local science, and this 21st century is the century for science of information. I salute to these two great souls for which we are all here in the Science Spirituality Meet. Thank you for your attention.